Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're watching the video. Hello, my YouTube family. As you come in, please hit the like button. Or if after you've listened to the video, you like it, please hit the like button for me. If you have not subscribed as of yet, please subscribe to me. As always, I thank those who have subscribed, even the new subscribers. I thank you. I appreciate it greatly. I also appreciate the prayers for my father and I. Today he's resting comfortably. I ordered some from the Dollar Shave Club. I ordered the little kit for $5, and I tried it on him this evening when I gave him a shave, and he said that's the best he felt as far as his face and his skin in a while. So I was very happy about that. So I'm deciding to go ahead and kind of invest in their products. The Dollar Shave Club, I think it's called, but it just did so much. It did so much good for his skin. Don't look at mine, but for his skin, and he was so relaxed and so comfortable after I given him the shower, the bath, and gave him his food. So I'm going to order some supplies for him from that particular establishment. But again, I thank you guys. He's resting, which is a good thing, and he's not having episodes, which is the biggest thing. Because he did tell me today, he said sometimes he's scared, he's afraid, because he feels like he's losing his mind. So I'm not sure if that's something that many dementia patients deal with, or people who are going senile, losing their memory and all of that. I never knew that some of them may be aware, even though they can't help it. They are aware that that part of them, that mental aspect of them, is weakening. And I guess if my father is telling me that frightens him and scares him, that he may be losing his mind, and sometimes he doesn't know what to do. I pray for those who have left me messages saying you're taking care of someone as well in the same situation. I never realized that they realized that that's what was going on with them. And though they fall in and out of these, I call them episodes. I don't know what else to call them, where they don't know where they are and all that kind of stuff. Even though they at that moment they know you, they don't know where they are, and they say just out of the head stuff. So, but I thank you. He's coming along very well, and I appreciate it. Um, your comments regarding his care, your prayers, your love, your concern, your support, because it's been hard. I do this by myself, so it's been quite difficult. But there may be two, possibly three, but there are mainly two reasons that I came on tonight to do this video. The first one is to answer a question real quickly, very quickly. Someone asked me, why do I mention my age? And I thought it was funny because I never really thought about it, that I mentioned it a lot. But the reason I do that, or the reason I began doing that, is when I see people dragging people or reading them or anything of that caliber, they would say, so and so and so is 30, but they look 60. And somebody else would say, yeah, over there, 40 years old, but looking 60. And so at first I didn't give it a thought, because I didn't think about my age. I didn't think about, you know, the age thing at all. I really didn't give it a thought. And so as time went along, like I said, I've been here a while. I just hadn't been down here a while. I kept hearing that. I kept hearing that, yeah, they're 35 years old and they look 60. And so I thought, let me go ahead and tell these people, yeah, everybody that's 60, not that I'm hot, but we're not gargantuans. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I am 60. I'm proud of it at this point. Just thank God I made it this far. But that's why I said, well, guys, can't y'all say 100 or something? I mean, because I'm 60. And I started kind of feeling funny. I said, dog, do I look that bad? So that's to answer that question. That's why I mentioned that I'm 60, because everybody was saying that so and so is 40, but they look 60. So and so is 30, but they look 60. And I said, would y'all please get off the 60 and get another age bracket for me, please? I didn't take it personally, but I'm just saying, it just made me look in the mirror and say, do I look like that? Because I am 60. Mm. But anyway, that's the answer to that question. To answer your other question, well, this is something that happened, what's today? Whatever. It happened Monday because the nurse had to come back and recertify my father for care. You know, they do it every 6 months or whatever. I can't remember. Um, so this time when she came, she had the lady. Well, first she came in and she, did an assessment. What they call it, did an assessment. Vital signs were great. Everything that I'm doing for him, skin care, everything that you would normally not see if there were somewhere where nobody was really caring for them. I cover all those bases, not because they come by and check or do an assessment, because I love him. I love him, and I want him to be comfortable, and I want him to be resting well. You know, that's one of the reasons I say I'm not against putting anybody in a nursing home, because it may get to that point where um, the dementia is so great that I can't deal with it. Then I may have to, but you know what I can deal with, I'm gonna deal with it the best that I can and do the best I can and keep moving forward. But uh, he gets like hundreds on those. The weight, he hadn't lost the weight. You know, I give him insure products, and feed him regularly, keep him clean, keep his bed clean, keep him fresh. Everything that I feel I would want somebody to do for me if I was in that position, I do it for him. So I did great in that. But the first thing after she did the assessment, she called me because I usually leave them in the room and her in the room with him, so they can just talk, so he can just tell her how he feels. I just want to be honest and be truthful with the people. So I usually just go in my bedroom and let them go and have the conversation. So when she called me into the room, she asked, where's all the things that we were supposed to get for him? The things that were supposed to help you take care of him, from the fact that you're taking care of him by yourself. We were going to do, what did the social worker say? And so I told her, I said, her name is Linda. I said, Linda, I'm going to tell you, I'll tell you like this. I understand the problem that people have in systems like this, and I understand it's tough. I said none of the things that were promised or were said were going to be done for my father and I, none of it has ever been done. None of it. I said we've been waiting on over a year for a lot of things, and it hasn't been done. I said the reason why I hadn't said anything or hadn't really made a thing about it is because I understand that the load of patients that many of you guys have has to be heavy, because it's not just elderly patients, it's other patients who needs help. And I said, so I try to be fair and say, you know what, I'll do what I can and do what I have to, and I won't worry about the things that they say they're going to do or whatever. They're backed up and they're behind. And see, all this was before Corona. I want y'all to remember that. A lot of these things that were going to be done for my father and myself to help me was going to be done before Corona ever came on the scene, as far as we know it ever came on the scene. So this was way before then. And so I told her, I said, and now with the coronavirus, excuse me, I know it's even harder on you guys to do the things you need to get done and see the people that you need to see because of the restrictions. So I said, I try not to bitch. I said, my thing is, whatever you do, however you give, however you help, whatever you do, I'm grateful. Because there are some people who doesn't have even anybody to be there for them, to take care of them or whatever, or to even assist them. So I'm just grateful. And I don't want to be one of these people, y'all say, well, we tried, and then we're always complaining. No, I try to not complain, and I try not to make your task harder on you guys than it needs to be. That's why when you come over here, there's very little, literally nothing that you have to do. I think at the time we had a home health aide that would come out just twice a week on Mondays and Wednesdays in the mornings. And she would bathe him for me and, change. She would just bathe him and shave him if he needed it, and everything else I did. But for that little help that she gave, I was appreciative for her, because there's 2 mornings I could rest a little bit longer. So she asked me about the social worker, and I said, well, I've only seen the social worker once. I said she came in She asked questions. She asked me questions, and she asked if she could talk with Dad, and I told her sure. And I left her alone and let her talk with Daddy, and whatever questions she had for him, he answered them and everything, and uh, everything was fine. She came and she wanted to talk to me some more, and she commended me on the great job that I was doing with my dead father. And see, at that time, he wasn't having those dementia episodes or anything like that, but she commended me, and I told her, something, you know, yes, I sound like a broken record, but I'm going to do the best I can for him and by him, as best as I possibly can. So she was saying, you know, there is these services we can sign up for, and there's these services we can get for him. And she said, seems like a hospital bed would help you out. I said it would, because I can lift him up in the bed and, you know, crank it up, an electric bed, and let him sit up in the bed sometimes, since a lot of times the muscles and stuff in his body are just about gone. He can't do it for a longer period of time. So at this point, I have to almost, in some cases, when I sit him up to eat, I have to sit there with him and kind of hold him up so he can, you know, hold himself up so he can eat his food, or feed him when I'm feeding him or something like that. So she said, you need a little something called a lift, because, you know, when I do his bed, I have to turn him. I have to lift him up, pull him in the bed. It's almost like a 180 pound baby. That's the best way I can put it, because he can do nothing. So she was going to put it in order for the lift, the order for the hospital bed. She said, "What about supplies?" I said, "Well, right now I'm buying them. I buy the bed. I buy the bed pads for the bed. I buy the diapers that I have to put on him. I buy the gloves. You know, the gloves I have to use when I handle him. Right now, everything comes out of my pocket, our pocket." And she was saying, "You know, there are services that can even get that for you and assist you with that." And I said, "Okay, that'll be great. Everything was just great, 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 great. And then we can check this and do this." And she walked around the house to see if there was anything that would be needed, you know, in the house, which I didn't know they did. But she said, "You know, we can even do this and redo this and, you know, do that just for your comfort." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, that's great. I had no idea that you guys did that." Okay, so that was one day. About 6 months or so passed. Of course, nothing happened. Nothing went on, and I left it alone. I'm gonna put it that way. So here we are today. Well, whenever the day the nurse came by, she came by. She asked me, "What were all the things that that the social worker that's on their staff? Where were the things that she was supposed to get done?" I told her, I said, "They've never been done." Um, I said she came that one time and she took notes and was writing down stuff and all of this and everything that she was going to take care of. I said, but none of it ever came to fruition. So I said, I didn't bitch about it because I figured, you know, you guys were overloaded because you got one social worker, I imagine, for a whole lot of people. And I didn't want to seem to be a problem because most of the things that he need or my father needed, I'm doing it anyway. So I've come accustomed to doing it. The things she stated would definitely be a help back, you know, Ensure, protein shakes, all this kind of stuff. So the nurse said, "Well, let me call the office. Let me call the social worker and see what the problem is." Because she asked me, did they talk with the doctor? Anything that he may need, the doctor writes the prescription for. And my father's doctor and I already discussed the hospital bed, the lift, everything, all that's been done. So she called the social worker, and I guess she really wasn't thinking because she had her on speakerphone. And so when she had on speakerphone, she said, "Well, this is so and so, Linda. I'm the nurse, you know, who works with, you know, my father." She gave his name, and I was just doing a follow up on the things that. When have you seen them, and have you did a follow up on him? Do you guys know she didn't even know who he was? When she looked in her system, I guess they all carry around these little iPads, you know, so they can do documentations that way. She had no notes, and then she asked, "Well, is he the guy? Is he the one that lives in Yazoo City?" She didn't know where we lived. She had the wrong city address and all of that. And I just sat there. I didn't say a word. And the nurse was getting so pissed because she couldn't really believe. And I'll explain why. She couldn't believe that this woman had come out here, had no notes on myself or my father or his care, had no notes on the things that she was supposed to be doing for him, had no notes on anything, his health, nothing. It's like he didn't even exist in her system. Okay? So the nurse said, well, let me go ahead now and just reassign you to him because there are things that they've been needing for over a year that they still hadn't received. He needs a hospital bed. So she just kind of went down the little list. What about the insure? What about the diapers? What about the bed pads? So she said, I tell you what, you just come back out and do a reassessment. I'm gonna set you up the appointment, and then when you come out, you call me after the appointment so we can get these things done, because this has been going on for over a year, and none of the things that he should have or need to have to take care of his father, he hasn't received any of it yet. Okay, so she calls the office where the main office where the people are given their assignments by the clinical physician or clinical nurse. I'm not really sure. I don't keep up with all that. But again, she had her on speakerphone, and she was asking her, well, what's going on with the status of my father? She gave the name, date of birth, all that, and she said because there are so many things that's supposed to have been ordered and done over a year ago that's never been done. And I'm trying to find out what has been the holdup or the problem that these items and things that's needed for his care has not been given. So of course she had to look it up, and she looked it up, and she said, well, she kind of went on and on and on and on about the different things that they needed to do and they thought they had done but had not done, all that kind of stuff. And I'm sitting there. I at this point I'm just, you see I'm turning red right now. But I'm trying to be calm. So after she finished the clinical nurse or whoever it is that sends the people out, she made the statement, and she didn't know she was on speakerphone. You know what? Look like with all of this going on with him, look like they just need to put him in a home and just let it go. It took everything I thought I believed in spiritually not to go in on that woman. And the bad part about it, Daddy heard it because the nurse was in the room in my dad's bedroom. So all of us heard it. I didn't feel so bad for me. I felt bad for him because it made him feel as if, and I'm thinking in his mind that he's a problem. He's a weight and all this other stuff. And the nurse looked at me and her eyes got big because she was shocked that the woman said that. Uh, and she just said, well, I tell you what, I'm going to take his case on and we're going to do this and we're going to blah, 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 blah. And then she hung up and then she began to apologize. And I tell you, um, she apologized, number one, but then she told me that she said, I'm sick of these people. I said, well, what's the deal? And she said, they do for who they want to do for. Are certain people that they will go out of their way to make sure those things that I've been promised is done for them, but won't do it for other certain or other people. I'm tired. People say as soon as a certain group of people need items or need things done, they jump on it, just like that. But if you're in another certain group, do y'all get where I'm coming from? I'm trying not to be too obvious. But if you come from a certain background or group, then they don't move as quickly, or if they move at all. And she said, in this case, she said, since you're on my clinical list and all that, she said, this is just ridiculous. And she kept apologizing. I said, well, you really don't have to apologize. I appreciate you for doing it, but you don't have to. Um, I kind of heard it for myself. So, like you say on YouTube, you see and hear things for yourself, and people say it's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie. No, you hear things and you see things for yourself. You're not delusional. You see it and you hear it, and you go by that. So to say that I told that once I got him still, I said I need to go and just take a drive. I just need to get away from all, everything around the house, the everything, everything. I made sure he was okay mentally. I made sure that even though I know what the lady said over the phone, even the speakerphone, that he needs to be he he he. He don't need that help. Like to me, he needs to be in a nursing home, and they need to just let it go. Uh, like he told the nurse, he said, one thing I can say about my son, he said, I ain't worried about nothing. He said, because my son take care of me real good. And I felt good about that. But, and he ain't gonna let y'all just do me any kind of way and do anything to me. And I said, yeah, that myself. I said, you know, I don't have to say nothing. You know it. You know how I am. So that left there. But I had to go and take a drive and just ride around and kind of calm my nerves and just really meditate and think and get some fresh air, um, and kind of bring everything kind of to one place so I can kind of refocus and all of that. But that really angered me that even in the healthcare system or the system, we're still treated differently based on whether it is, number one, maybe based on race, um, based on, I guess, your background as far as where you live. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna take a picture. Once I get where I need to be here on YouTube, I can take pictures. You know, I can dox myself, but I can take pictures of our home. Our home is beautiful. It's in a it's a great neighborhood. My parents' house is now probably 45 years old because they bought it when it was 5 years old. It had just been built and was 5 years old. And I remember when we did the little mortgage thing, that was 35 years. And then my mom passed. But, you know, it's it's not like we're, I don't want to say bums and trashy and nasty and uh, unclean and unkept. We're none of those things, um, which I don't see why that will make a difference in your care for the person. You know, because in during my earlier years when I don't want to say ministry, I'll put it this way. During those years, some years back, 30 years ago, when I was had an intercessory prayer ministry, and I would pray with people and for people, and many times I had to go to their homes, uh, and it broke my heart to see the condition of the conditions that they were living in. It was just, to me, it was just, it wasn't anything I could do, you know, as far as that. But and I think that's why I protected my father, even with my mother. Their living surroundings, you know, whatever I could do to help them keep it up, because I never wanted them to live in a state of just everything is it look like it's in chaos and it's not clean and it's not, you know, comfortable. So I think that's where that came in. Many things that I do now or many things that I've done is because something happened and I remembered it and I thought this was just terrible and I just could not see my parents or even my siblings, even though, you know, however that is, you know, um, helping me with my father. But even if they needed me, I would be there for them to make their life as comfortable as I possibly can, even though all of them live out of state at this point. But that really opened my eyes greater to how, in some ways, we've come. I don't want to say we are. In some ways, we have come a long way, and there in other ways, we still are so much behind when it comes to us as being human beings in this world. It's a sad commentary, and I do realize, and I do believe that's why a lot of people are angry. Not on YouTube, I'm talking about just in life, angry because of the things they've internalized so much of what's not fair and what's been going on and what we're not getting, and they're sick of the rhetoric and they're sick of the the talking but no action, and so they're snapping. And I understand it. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying I understand it totally. But that was it. I was going to come on and do that to just let you guys know update on that and about the age thing. Yes, I'm 60, and the only reason why I do tell you guys that constantly is because everybody keeps saying these people who's 30 and 40, they look 60. And I'm thinking, y'all had me kind of looking sideways for a minute. I'm 60 and I look that doggone bad. Oh. But there are some guys here on YouTube I'm praying for and praying with. Uh, I'm not giving anybody's business, but Battle Cat, I'm hanging there. I know. Miss Gifted and Anointed, you guys hang in there. You've kind of told me how you're going through different things, and Battle Cat, I understand more than you know, of course, because I put it out there, the things that I'm going through with taking care of my father, and it can be overwhelming, and can be a lot, but you hang in there. I'm praying with you and for you that we both get through this, and other people who have left me messages of taking care of loved ones and the things they've experienced negatively in this area. For those of you who are fixated on my teeth, I'm sorry. I should have gotten braces. They're not picking. They're not. They're just right here. I was supposed to have gotten braces, and I just didn't want to get them. And they weren't this like this at that time, but over the years, they got that way. And when the dentist told me back then, he said you eventually will need braces. Back then, you didn't have options. It was that wiry thing where they screwed in, and I just couldn't see myself with that. But as you always say, if I knew now, if I knew then what I know now, I would have done differently. For those of you who call me raggedy mouth, but it is wonderful. I don't have a potty mouth. Isn't that something? I really don't. I can get geared up, but I try not to. That's one thing my mother prayed for, because my oldest brother, he will just about he will kill you, literally. He's not a person that argues, fight. He's just a man of action. And my mama said she had to pray hard that when she had me, I would not take that route. And I put 75-25. I didn't take that route. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. If you liked the video, please like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. No, I'm not beefing. This is just I had to get something off my chest that happened with my father and I and some other things. But I hope you're being safe. Take every precaution that you possibly can. As many of you know, my aunt passed. Thank you for the condolences. I haven't had a chance to sit down and just go through each message and thank you like I normally do, because it's just been a whirlwind of things going on since she passed. Found out my uncle, her husband, and one of their children, his son, my cousin, has the virus, and so they're on quarantine at this point. So they can't even do a funeral, for my aunt. It'll be 2 weeks before they do the funeral because my uncle wants to be there, like I said earlier. So to me, in my mind, it's just too much. It's just a lot of stuff. But anyway, thank you guys again for listening. And remember, I love you guys, but know this always, God loves you more. Bye-bye.